Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 159th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. Just to say that when you see the players in this game, I think you would agree it's got the ingredients to be a really great battle, and I hope you enjoy it. The team I'm in today consists of Brotherhood member Racer X, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And then we have King's member Pim, and he has bought the Egyptian faction, an unusual faction to bring to the 31k battlefield, especially on a winter battlefield. And then we have Brotherhood member FLANKME, who has bought the Rome Julio faction. And then myself, Spartan Commander, who has also bought the Rome Julio faction. So there's our team there, full of good players and a lot of experience in our team. But as I said earlier, you wait till you see the other team. This has got the ingredients to be a classic. I hope you enjoy it. At this stage of the battle, I thought we'd have a look at King Pim's Egyptian army here. If you notice, he's got, I think it's 14 units of Pharaoh bowmen. As you know, the Pharaoh bowmen have got great range, they do a lot of damage, and their specifications are so good, when they run out of arrows, you can actually use them as light infantry. So having 14 units of Pharaoh bowmen could be quite effective. And then I see he's got I think it's 5 units of the heavy chariots there. These Egyptian chariots are pretty good because they don't run amok. As you've seen in other battle videos, you know that when chariots run amok, they kill both friend and foe alike. Well, these chariots don't do that. So that's pretty good for Egyptian chariots not to do that. And I think he's got 1 unit of chariot archers there. And there you go, you can see the chariot archers with the, if you look closely, you can see them carrying their bows. They're pretty useful, they're fast, and they can do a lot of damage before any of the enemy can get to them. So there's the Egyptian army, but no infantry. It'd be interesting to see how well this does. And here is the other team. We have IOW IMMORTALLIS, who I believe is Bubo, and Bubo plays with Macedon a lot and has become very proficient with Macedon, so it should be interesting to see how well he does today. And then we have Brotherhood member Mystique. Now I believe Mystique has bought 20 infantry units here, so no cavalry, just 20 infantry units. So it'll be interesting to see how well all those infantry would do to make up for the lack of cavalry. And then we have a Brotherhood member UTHER, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. And then we have a Brotherhood member GLADIUS, who has bought the Rome SPQR faction. So there's the other team. As I said, with all these great players, this should be a good one for you to watch. At this very early stage of the battle, you can see our Egyptian ally, Pim, has split his army in two here. He's sending Pharaoh bowmen off to our left here, probably with a thought to shoot up the Macedon pikemen, who are extremely susceptible to archer damage. But he sent his archers and the remainder of his Pharaoh bowmen off to our right flank there. So obviously there's a tactical move here in his mind, but I'm just a bit worried without any infantry. I'm just hoping that the enemy doesn't push forward too much, because if they do, we've got no, we're going to be a bit short of infantry here. As you can see here, he's got his Pharaoh archer unit there, firing arrows into the running Macedon pikemen there. So it'll be interesting to see how this Egyptian army does in the battle. At this stage of the battle, you can see that our Egyptian ally Pim has brought those Pharaoh bowmen out to our left flank with a view of shooting arrows into the flanks of the enemy infantry. If you notice, the enemy SPQR cavalry are sending those units over to attack the Pharaoh bowmen there. As you can see, if you notice, we're rushing cavalry over to that left flank to support those bowmen at the moment. As you can see, there's another Macedon cavalry unit there that's going to attack the bowmen. It wouldn't surprise me if the bowmen were alt attacked and charged into that unit there. Did you see, instead of running away, Pym used the alt attack there and made his archers tackle the cavalry head on there in a hand-to-hand fight, knowing that the cavalry were going to come in to assist them there. Nice little move there by King's Pym. As you can see now, Mystique is moving her 20 infantry units over here. Now when you've got 20 urban cohorts coming towards you, that is a heck of a challenge. If you notice, I've moved my infantry over and it looks like we've kind of collided there. But the SBQR infantry has got a bit of an overlap on my infantry there and is moving round to my left. You notice that Racer and Racer's cavalry are charging in there to support my infantry. If you notice that Mystique is sending infantry units over. Let's just pause the game here to take stock of the situation. As you can see, Mystique is sending infantry units over here to attack that Julii cavalry, and probably, if it could, take out those Egyptian archers too. Meanwhile, the bulk of Mystique's armies is still attacking my Julii army there, and if you notice, my ally is sending in Racer, sending in cavalry to support me there. So that's what's actually happening here on the left. As you see, the enemy have got SBQR cavalry out there on the left as well. And if you notice here, Gladius is moving his SBQR infantry over towards my infantry as well there. Over in the centre and on the right, you can see it's quite quiet at the moment. But as we've seen in other battle videos before, sometimes the quiet areas are quiet one time, and next time we look, there's a fierce battle going on. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over there on the right. But at the moment, it seems to me that the action appears to be on the left flank here. Let's see what happens next. Right, can you see the our allies' Julii cavalry charging into the SBQR infantry there that had advanced over there? That little group of SBQR infantry has become a little bit isolated there. And if you notice, I'm charging my cavalry in as well to that to those isolated SBQR units. Bang! As that cavalry hits. It's 5 units of cavalry, 5 units of cavalry charge bonus there, just charged in there. If you notice, I moved my infantry back a little bit too to regroup them. As they were kind of a little bit out of order there when they faced the SBQR infantry. If you notice now, the enemy Scipii cavalry are charging in to support his SBQR allies there. But if you notice now, even that cavalry charging in is still a little bit isolated from their main army there. So if we hit them with some cavalry charges, we could cause a few of their units to rout there. If you notice, our Egyptian ally is bringing his chariots over from our right here. Right, if you notice that a lot of our Julii allies' cavalry there was just routed. So I'm charging my cavalry in anticipation of the Egyptian chariots coming in as well. If you notice, Racer's cavalry is charging as well there on our left. So with a combination of all that cavalry plus the scare factor of the chariots, it wouldn't surprise me if the enemy infantry there and maybe even the enemy cavalry there started to rout. As you can see, there's some enemy Scipii cavalry charging in at the same time. And some enemy SBQR cavalry charging in as well there. That's a heck of a battle here, cavalry and chariot battle here on our left flank. Can you see, did you notice I've moved my infantry formation back there to support the cavalry there? So they'll have my general and my eagle unit morale bonus there for if they need it while fighting the enemy troops there. Remember, morale with your eagle units and your general unit is very important, especially when your troops are engaged there. To keep their morale up, keep them fighting. So that's why I moved my infantry back. Let's just pause the game for a second to take stock of what's actually happening here. As you can see here on our left, our cavalry and chariot charge has routed a lot of the enemy infantry and a lot of the enemy cavalry here on our left. So that was a nice bit of teamwork, but as you can see, they've still got a lot of cavalry left on our left flank there. As you can see here, my infantry now are being attacked aggressively by Gladius's SBQR infantry, plus there's Macedon, enemy Macedon pikemen coming in on me as well there. There's a bit of close-up of the fight in there. So not only fighting SBQR infantry, but with those pike units coming in as well, that could be a bit of a problem here on our left. Further on up the battlefield there, you can see in the centre and over on the right flank it's still pretty quiet there, as you can see. So not a lot going on there. I think both sides have sent reinforcements over to the left from those armies there, but in general it's very quiet. So it just seems to be at the moment here on the left flank we seem to be seeing most of the action. Let's see what's going to happen next. As you can see, like I said earlier, Gladius's infantry is attacking me extremely aggressively, but all the time those Egyptian pharaoh bowmen are firing fire arrows into Gladius's infantry and into the pikemen as well. Well, of course, fire arrows tend to lower morale and actually scare the enemy troops there. So with them attacking my army, plus being hit by fire arrows, I would think that my army should be able to hold there against that aggressive attack there. There you go. You can see the bowmen there still firing arrows into the enemy troops there. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, most of the enemy SBQR infantry that was attacking my infantry now has been routed. So I think that was mostly done by the fire arrows, putting panic into the troops, plus coming up against my solid infantry that seem to be holding quite well. If you notice now, I'm throwing in some cavalry over here on the left flank. Now I've got to avoid the enemy pikemen, so I've kind of tried to do a surgical strike with my cavalry there, just to hit the enemy SBQR infantry on the edge of the battle there, but away from the pikemen. Let's just pause again for a second here. As you can see here, my cavalry's just charged in. I say the bowmen, the pharaoh bowmen are still firing fire arrows into the enemy there. As you can see there, firing those fire arrows in. Not only do they cause casualties, but as I said earlier, they lower the morale of enemy troops as well and spread panic. As you can see, I think it's Racer's brought his Julia army over here to take on some of the other pikemen. You can see the enemy Uther is attacking Racer here on the right flank. But the enemy bowmen there will be firing arrows into Uther's army there. And as I said earlier, the damage that those archers cause can be very effective there. So we'll be shooting into the rear and the flank of Uther's infantry. Meanwhile, over on our far right flank here, you can see that FLANKME is engaged with Gladius and some of Uther's infantry there as well. So like we said earlier, areas that are quiet, like the right flank was a bit earlier, is now in a fierce battle there over on the right flank. In the centre it seems to be a bit quiet, and over on the left flank it's still kind of going on over here as well. So it seems to be a battle of on both flanks at the moment, with the centre being a bit quiet.
The leader of allies,
I think our Egyptian allies' general's just been killed there.
Hard for us, but harder still.
And of course, you know, when your general's killed, the morale of your troops tend to drop. So I'm just hoping that his pharaoh archers will still keep firing those fire arrows into the enemy troops. They're lowering their morale and causing casualties. Can you see some of the Macedon cavalry coming over here? I'm backing my cavalry off at the moment because my cavalry is extremely battle damaged and very tired, and I only want to use them against those Macedon cavalry if I really have to. As you can see, looking at my units that are left, not a lot of men left in those units. Okay, can you see the Macedon cavalry now are charging into the rear of my engaged infantry there? Can you see that? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to counter charge with my cavalry into them. There we go. But as I said, I haven't got a lot of cavalry left, so I'm not sure how how effective my cavalry charge would be against that Macedon cavalry. I can see a lot of my units routing there. Meanwhile, Racer has fiercely and aggressively attacked the Macedon pikemen there. And meanwhile, over on our right flank, you can see that UTHER has kind of put a battle line across the battlefield to stop our ally coming over there. If you notice the UTHER's Scipii army there, as I say, he's put like a little battle line there to stop our allies being able to come over to assist us. As you can see here, I can see a lot of my Julii infantry starting to rout now with the force of those pikes, plus that Macedon cavalry that were coming in and attacking from the rear as well. You also got to remember that when your ally is firing fire arrows over your troops' head into the enemy troops, if any of those fire arrows hit your troops in the back, then it does exactly the same damage as it would do to the enemy. So friendly archer fire can kill your troops, and also if it's fire arrows can lower the morale of your troops as well. So new players watching this, always kind of remember that when you're using your archers. Try and use your archers at an angle where you're not shooting over your allies' heads, because inevitably some of your arrows will go low and go into the back of your own allies there. Right, if you notice, a lot of my units now have been routed. The units I've got left are extremely battle damaged, and I'm a bit worried that my army is about to cave in there. So I think maybe the best thing for me to do is to pull my the units left of my army back now, because I don't think I'm making any don't seem to be making much difference against those enemy pikes there. If you notice, also the enemy Scipii have moved over as well. So I'd just like to say that I think pulling back here is the best tactical thing for my army. And bearing in mind that my army now consists of 3 extremely battle damaged units, I think maybe that was the best thing to do. And there you can see, just going to pause the game here for a second, and there you can see that's the whole of my army now, 3 extremely battle damaged units. So I thought, as I said, the best thing to pull them back, or I'll probably lose those against those pikes there. Moving over a little bit, can you see that Racer now is facing the Scipii and Macedon pikemen there. Plus, if you notice, he's being attacked by enemy SBQR infantry on his right. So he's turned his units there to face the danger from the SBQR attack. And if you notice, our ally FLANKME is moving his infantry over from our right flank over to the left to assist us. So there's a general overview of the battle. And remember, all the time, those Egyptian pharaoh bowmen are firing arrows into the enemy. So as I say, and they're firing fire arrows, so that lowers their morale and also causes casualties. So they're doing their bit as well, even though they didn't have any infantry. Right, even though I've only got 3 infantry units left, I'm not just going to stand by and let my allies fight it out. I'm still going to attack. If you notice here, I'm running over to help my ally fight off the SBQR attack here on the right. If you notice there, I'm charging in, and I'm going to charge through my allies' infantry into that SBQR infantry with a view to try and rout or damage as many of the SBQR infantry as I can there. I think that SBQR infantry was very battle damaged and very tired, so when I think when my infantry hit there, it kind of was enough just to kind of, you know, that's old saying, the last straw. I think that was probably what it was there. That hit was the last straw that just kind of routed them there. If you notice, our Egyptian ally is using some of his bowmen, like I said to you, as light infantry. They've run out of arrows now, but their specifications are so good, you can actually charge them in against enemy infantry and use them as light infantry, which is what he's doing there. See the pharaoh bowmen still firing their fire arrows into the enemy troops, so they're doing a really good job there. And if you notice now that the enemy Scipii and enemy Macedon troops are kind of forming a bit of a defensive formation there now, which is really basically all I think all they can do now with FLANKME's troops coming in on them as well. There you go, there's one of the Pharaoh units there, bowman units there, can you see, being used as light infantry, using to attack the infantry. The Pharaoh bowmen, I think, probably the second best archers in the game. I think the Gaul foresters are probably the best archers in the game, but the Pharaoh bowmen are extremely close to that. Okay, I'm just going to pause the game here for us to take stock of this final stage of the battle. As you can see, all my allies are engaged with the enemy troops now. Now my army of 3 units here, what my thoughts are here is to move around the back of the enemy and then charge into the rear of their engaged troops. So that's what I'm going to do with my 3 unit army there, just to try and help my allies out.
The enemy army is in flight. Pursue them and drive them from the battlefield.
I think UTHER's Scipii troops are holding extremely well, bearing in mind the aggressive attack that we're putting on them. I think most of the, as you can see, the Macedon units now have routed. So I think that it looks like our team seems to have gone on to have won the battle there. But I hope you would agree it was a really classic battle there, and I thought could have gone either way at any time there. An interesting battle as well, I think. I hope you would find that as well.
Rome demands victory from her generals.
As you can see over on the left here, it seems to be the most intense fighting on the battlefield, as you can tell by the amount of dead there. Right, the first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game there. Lots of good attacking moves and some really good defense and support moves there by both teams. If you notice, the kills on my team all above 1400, so really well done to them, and really well done to the, as I said, to the enemy team as well. Lots of attacking moves there, lots of good defensive moves as well, so really well done to them. I'd just like to draw your attention to the Egyptian kills there. If you notice, I think he's got the second highest kills in the game there. And when we first looked at that Egyptian army, it didn't look, you know, with just archers and chariots. I imagine a lot of you are thinking, is that would that hold if it was hit by the enemy? And obviously it wasn't meant to be a holding army. It was just meant to be, if you like, a skirmish army there, where the archers would move out and just kept peppering the enemy with those fire arrows, and those chariots would charge in with their scare factor and do a lot of damage with the chariots. So really, Egyptian army did quite well. And also I'd like to draw your attention to IOW Immortallis, or Bubo, with his Macedon army there. He's got very good kills there on his team as well there. So really well done to both teams. I just say, if you enjoyed this battle and other Brotherhood battles, if you'd like to subscribe to our channel, that'd be great, and then you'd be informed automatically when the next battle was ready to watch, and you won't miss any of the action. This Spartan Commander saying, hope you enjoyed the battle, look forward to seeing you soon.